Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our movie club. Today we are going to describe an episode, not a movie. It's kind of not what we usually do, but there is a long series like how is it called? Star Trek, the original series, right?
Right.
Yeah. And for today we have an episode to describe, to talk about. It's a city on the edge of forever. So a nice one. I enjoyed it. And thank you, Teacher Lee, for pointing this exact episode. So let's start our discussion. So Vova, can you help us with main characters who were on this movie episode? Vova, please put your mic closer.
The main characters are Jim Kirk,
Okay.
Mr. Spock.
Okay. Who is Jim Kirk or Kim Kirk in this episode? It's the captain, right?
Yes,
Captain of Enterprise. Who is Spock?
This is
Assistant of captain, I guess. Or something.
Number 2 man.
Number 2 man. Okay. Is he a human, Vova? Mr. Spock, is he a human?
No.
No. He's a Vulcan guy from a planet Vulcan.
Yep.
Okay,
He's
who
the
else?
science officer is his title.
Science officer. Okay. Who else? Vova?
Leonard McCoy.
He's a doctor, right?
Yes, he's doctor.
Oh, okay. Who else? And the lady, right? The lady names was Edith Keeler.
Edith.
Okay. It's all right. So we forgot about
The machine is called the Guardian of Forever.
Guardian. Oh, yeah, it's interesting one.
Who are you? I am the Guardian of Forever.
I use the words you can understand, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start from the story, the circumstances, what is happening on. Leila, can you please?
The story starts with the captain and Mr. Spock was on the spaceship. I think on the cockpit. Can I say cockpit?
No, we say a bridge. For a ship, we say bridge.
Okay, thank you. So they were talking. Suddenly, there was a kind of tremor, a kind of turbulence, and then it is getting worse and worse. They didn't understand what was happening at first, and they started looking at the equipment and try to understand what caused this. And Mr. Spock had a special equipment in his hands, and he found that there is a kind of living person, so living thing, what can I say? A kind of somebody living, and the data he collects from the equipment makes him think that could be a human being. So they decided to go down to the planet just below the spaceship.
So they were about to check the planet.
Yeah, if there is somebody who is in need of help or whatever.
Yeah, and as far as I remember, the spaceship was because of turbulence has a lot of small accidents, right? Something went wrong with equipment, and who got hurt? I don't remember.
Okay, on the bridge. Okay, remember on the bridge, these time waves were making space turbulent. So the Enterprise was being buffeted by like tsunami waves, and it caused an electrical short in some equipment on the bridge. And Sulu, the navigator, his panel blew up in front of him and he was injured. So they had to call the doctor to the bridge to
Medic. We need a medic
medical.
on the
Yeah.
bridge.
Okay. And this is important because this leads up to how the sequence of events got started. Okay.
Yeah. So medic came. It was Chekhov, right? Teacher Lee? I always forget.
This was Sulu. Sulu's the Japanese guy.
Yeah, Sulu was damaged, was injured, but doctor was
McCoy.
McCoy.
Yeah,
Okay. So McCoy came, and Vasant, do you remember what happened?
Yes, McCoy had an injection with the dose. He gave it to Zulu, a little amount of dose, and he regained the conscious, and Kirk was afraid about that injection, so he made a comment about that injection, but Dr. McCoy was overconfident, and he said that nothing will happen, something like that. And then once he was done with that injection, he was about to place it back in that container, but unfortunately, again, another time wave bumped, and he accidentally stabbed himself with that. He injected that in himself. So the medical team says that only a little amount of dose will can save a human's life, but that much amount, the entire amount of dose will make a man go crazy. So
to get a paranoia, right? You are going to kill me. Your enemies everywhere.
Yeah.
And I liked the dialogue between Captain and Doctor. So Doctor was like, I don't know how to describe it. He was like, he had poker face, right? He had no attention to what Captain's saying. He was doing his job, and Captain tried to interfere and say something. And then when the case was resolved, he said, Captain, you were about to give me medical advice.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
So how would we describe it? Cold-hearted, usually? Or...
No, I would call it smug.
Okay.
Self-satisfied.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Confident and smug. Yeah.
Good. Confident and smug. Okay. So this like injection, which is strange, right? If it's this drug so powerful, why you have it in your device ready to use? So it's
if you only need a little bit, why have so much? Yeah.
Yes. So but he got it right, and this drug developed like paranoia in him, and it led to problems, I guess. Gerard, could you please describe what kind of problems it
Yeah,
led?
that's what I was about to tell you, because you don't store the drug inside a syringe, because the syringe should be used in many people, and you could infect each other.
Right.
One of the big plot holes of the episode. At the end, we have the other one. Very big. Okay, so the McCoy uses the teletransporter beam and go to the planet. And then Kirk, Spock, Scott, and two guards, two security guards, red cheers, I think they call, go to the planet, and they found a device, a sort of portal. It's like a time machine. It was created by an old civilization, many centuries ago, or millennials. And as McCoy jumps into the portal and goes to the 30s, the 20th century, the 30s, or the recession time, the Big Depression, I think it's called. And they find Kirk and Spock. They find out that something has changed, because they cannot contact the Enterprise, and it looks like it's McCoy's the reason that did something in the past that changed the future.
Yeah.
They need
So,
to go back
yeah,
just in time.
I remember we discussed it many times. It's kind of butterfly effect, right? So McCoy changed something, and it's immediately had a big influence on the present time. So they lost the ship, Enterprise. Nobody answering now. Okay, so what else? Let's tell more about. Let's talk more about this device, this machine. So it's looked not very fancy, I would say, just a stone, right? Circle stone. What
Looks like a stone donut. Yeah.
donut? Yeah, but it was intelligent somehow, right? And pretty self-confident, I would say. How?
It's
how?
it's probably millions and millions of years old,
Mhm.
built by some advanced civilization that's long gone,
Mhm.
that's extinct, and it's just been sitting there for millions of years waiting for a question.
Yeah, question. And I remember the first question was, "Are you a machine or you are a being or how they?" I
Well,
forgot.
first Kirk and Spock were talking, and Kirk said, "What is it?" And that triggered the device to wake up. A
Mhm.
question. For eons, long before your sun began to burn, I have awaited a question.
Yeah. So, but it's more like a machine, right? Not like something with intelligent. We don't know.
Well, it said, I am both and
I'm both.
neither.
Yeah. But
Your mind can't understand, so I've got to say it in terms like that.
yeah, as I got it, so it was a like simplified answer because you
Yeah.
just cannot understand it at all. Yeah. And Leila, you can say it. Why you wrote this? So Leila wrote. Leila wrote in the chat that in her version that she watched, Leila, I don't know why I should, read this, but okay. Machine answered that I'm neither and boss. So I don't know why it's this way. Okay, your simple minds cannot understand anything. Okay. So, and doctor, he was still under this paranoia attack and he tried to hide from this, from them, from the team, from the crew. Yeah, Spock was like clearly insulted by the machine, and he has some kind of mimic that what am I not able to understand to
That's
cope
right.
with you talking about? Yeah. So then machine started to demonstrate something. Well, do you remember this? This guardian, he started to show pictures. What it was?
The him. Home.
Rome, yeah, ancient history, right? So actually, it was a history day by day, or how it was.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a history of humankind, history of planet Earth, but how detailed it was. It was only major events. Am I right, teacher Lee? Mostly.
We don't really know. That's all it showed in the machine because it's trying to show us that it's history as it developed, but I don't know, it may have shown ordinary times too. We don't know. It's hard to say.
But I remember that they were saying it's like the pictures changing very fast. We cannot like understand. So and Spock figured out I can record this on my device, and then we can watch it slide by slide and investigate what is going on. So that was the reason. So Leila, what happened next in your version? Tell us.
No, I think not. It's the version I think I have watched another episode. Teacher Lee will kill me, so don't tell him.
Okay, we will not tell him.
You know what, Teacher Lee? I just checked it and I just have a look at Netflix, old films are not available there a lot. So
I went to Netflix, and you got to go to TV series
yeah,
and go to Star Trek with Kirk and Spock. And then there's seasons. And if you look at the seasons, it'll list all the episodes.
yeah,
So
I found.
so you've got to scroll down and pick the city on the edge of forever.
I
And
didn't look at the title to tell you the truth.
Okay, so it has to be the right one if you find it by title.
Okay.
I know what's the problem, because I watched the episode on Netflix. In Spain, Netflix, the first episode is the cage, you know, the prequel.
Right. You got to look down the series and pick the one you want.
But actually, you know, if this episode, you know, the one that we did, the prequel, the cage. So the number actually is not 28, it's 29.
Okay, so
Gerard, thank you.
You need to look at the title of the episode. That's more.
Yeah, I knew it will happen, Leila. That's why I shared, you know, the movie.
The title, because the number can be wrong.
I'm sorry, but I will, you know, join. I like listening to you.
Was it a good romance? A little romance you missed, Layla.
Lee, I will watch it after you talk.
Okay, we will cover this romantic story just now. Don't worry. Okay. So the machine is demonstrating all this history, like major events or just events, just in a chain of events. And what McCoy did, Vasant, do you remember? What happened?
Yeah, they were searching for McCoy. He was hiding behind some rocks. But when they captured him, they used a technique to make him unconscious.
How we call it? Spock
They did
something. How we call this technique that Spock knew? Yeah.
We call it the nerve pinch.
I love it.
Okay.
They wanted Spock to be a non-violent species. So the actor himself actually came up with the idea of a nerve pinch to quietly and calmly and non-violently take out an opponent.
Teacher Lee, an expert has to do that, right?
Yes, only the Vulcans can do that.
Yeah. So it's not about your technique, it's about your mind and everything together.
And strength. They're very strong also.
Yeah, not that easy. Okay, Vasant, so he jumped and everything disappeared, right?
Yes, he jumped into that ring. Then he fall into somewhere back in the past that they cannot predict the exact date and time because it was too fast and it was just showing the glimpse of centuries. So they decided to jump back into the past so that they can rearrange the past and the future also, the present also. So they did it with the help of Spock. I think he made a recording or something like that. Is that right? So with the help of his device.
Yeah. So he recorded, right, the moment when McCoy jumped. So they kind of replay it again, scrupulously watching, and they calculated the time to get there before McCoy. That was the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
What was I thought what was a powerful moment was immediately after McCoy jumped through the portal, the result was immediate. It's like, Captain, I can't communicate with the Enterprise. All that you knew is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fast. Yeah, but it's logical, right? If you change like the past, it changed immediately. So you just live in new reality. Right? Because it was like 1 million years ago, right? So butterfly effect. Yeah.
So they were basically, you know, their planet, well, the Federation didn't exist, their organization didn't exist, the starship didn't exist. They were stranded on that planet with no food, no water, nothing, and no one even knew they existed, and they were basically doomed to stay on that planet until they all died from starvation. So pretty scary if you were ever in that situation, you know?
Sure.
I liked this dialogue between Captain and the rest of the team when they decided to jump with Spock. He said, when you will think, when you think that you waited long enough, jump and try to do the same.
Yeah, because otherwise you're doomed. You know, all you can do is one at a time go through and try to fix the problem. But without the tricorder, none of them know when to jump, you know, so it wouldn't have worked anyway.
Right.
Only Spock's mind could calculate it precisely.
Yeah. So actually they were doomed, right? In either way. So actually what Captain said, so try to do something, you know, to just in case.
Yeah.
Okay, so where they arrived, Gerard?
In America, in the times of the Big Depression, and to meddle, they needed to get some clothes. And they stole some clothes, and a police officer caught them, and then they gave the pins, the pins to paralyze the police officer. And actually, I don't know when they met either.
Mm-hmm.
She was a social worker that gave food to the poor, that were many people bums. I think we call bums people who don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And she also gave them a job, I think 5 cents an hour or a day, so they could make their living. Meanwhile, Spock was trying to make some device to find out when McCoy would arrive to the same place, because they went to the place 1 week before, so they could be ready to stop him.
Yeah, I remember the moment, the dialogue between Spock and Captain when they were about to steal these clothes. It was kind of funny. He immediately found a justification for this. He said, "We will steal from rich and give this clothes to the poor person."
A little Robin Hood reference, yeah.
It was interesting, yeah. And it will be easy to explain, he said. So when police came, Spock said, okay, now explain. Yeah.
Well, he perhaps that accident when I was a child, Captain. Oh yes, he put his head in a rice picker.
Yes.
And it sharpened his ears. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. So they went to this, I don't know, is it a shelter, Teacher Lee, for bombs or shelter? Or
basically, yeah, they I think they went into a basement.
Mm-hmm.
But in her building where she had basically, she ran a shelter for poor people during the Great Depression.
Yeah. As far as I understand, she did not offer them like a place to sleep or something. She offered just food or some help or something else. So it was not like a real shelter, but some place where you can go and get something, right, to survive.
She basically let them live in the basement. You clean up the basement, you can stay here.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little money to clean up the basement. Yeah.
I remember they did not stay there. She said, I have a place for $10 a day or something, and they went somewhere else.
That might, that might be. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, so I remember there was a funny dialogue when a bum, a man who was sitting there and eating the food, he said, do you think it's for free? It's not for free. Now you have to be lectured or something. Hasan, do you remember this? What was this lecture about? What she was trying to do?
Yeah, the lecture is about future, that humans from that time span could not even imagine. What she was talking about spaceship and space travel and everything. Only Kirk and Spock could understand. So Kirk started to think that she is something special. And, so he falls in love with her, and he yes, and she helped them. And he during that time, Spock decided to make a computer to get away with.
Yeah, he needed some kind of materials for computer or something else. Yeah. So, but to describe her, so she was kind of, I don't know how we call them today, social justice warriors, no, activists.
No, we call them. The bomb called her Miss Goody Two Shoes. Goody Two Shoes is an expression for someone who's very, very soft-hearted. Kind of like a liberal pretends to be, right? Liberals say that they care about everyone, but they really don't, in my, to my view. But a soft-hearted person that wants to help everybody, we call them soft-hearted or goody two-shoes.
I see.
They're naive, kind of naive, innocent.
Yeah. So it's kind of suits my impression about many people nowadays. Nowadays, people try to say the same thing. Let's abandon all the armies in the world, and there we will not have any war anymore, because something like this.
Yeah.
Naive idea.
Yeah.
So let's give food to everyone, and then the world will be a better place, or something like this. Yeah. So just let's distribute something. Yeah. But she was sincere, idealistic, and I think it's there are many persons like her we can see, right? Just now and before. Okay, so it's described her a bit.
She's also what we would call a visionary. A visionary is a person that can imagine what the future is going to be like accurately. So she imagined that we would find an energy source, maybe from the atom, nuclear power. She imagined we might have a world of peace someday where people didn't suffer, where everyone was equal. We might even go to other planets in the universe, So she was kind of a visionary, very imaginative person.
And we know from the developing of the movie that she become to in the future she become to be kind of an influencer, right? She influenced people, so she changed something. Okay, so Leila,
Yeah.
does she look like a good person to you?
I mean, I'm listening to you and I adore her.
Yeah, so no surprise that Kirk fall in love with her, right?
What
Because
about her physical appearance?
she was a nice lady to me. Am I right, Gerard?
Yes, actually, she is a famous actress, Joan Collins. Do you know Joan Collins?
Yeah.
From Dynasties, soap opera in the 80s. But this her face rang a bell to me, and then I checked it was Joan Collins. So
I didn't notice that. Okay.
very beautiful lady. So now we know the reason why Kirk felt in love.
Okay, so now we have a setup, right? So setup like Kirk fall in love with her, and they spending some time together. Spock inside the apartment trying to build a computer and asking for more and more materials. Like, I need a few kilograms of gold. I don't remember.
Platinum.
Platinum, yeah, which is kind of expensive, I would say. Okay, and eventually he developed some kind of computer, right? Jart, and what they learned?
I think they learned that McCoy wasn't there yet, and in a moment, she find out that they have this weird device.
Yeah,
Another thing. To me, I think it's hard to believe that a woman could have as much influence at this time, at the beginning of the 20th century, because just a few years before, the women started to vote. So it's hard to believe that she could have such a big influence that could change, the United States going to the war against the Nazis. But nowadays it could be possible very well, and not at this
well,
time.
well, people can change the world. We have seen this many times, right? When one person can change the whole world, right? And what are our favorite examples? Mahatma Gandhi, right? And who else? Usually on TED Talk we hear about Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, someone else, right? So some people who change the whole world. So and in the movie, in the episode, they pretended there's this lady. I forgot her name again.
Edith, either.
Yeah, Edith. She actually. So the plot is she become to be a big influencer of a peace movement, and America never started a war with Nazi, right? And Nazi won.
No,
So it's
started
American.
yeah, later. It was too late. The Nazis got the atomic bomb before, so
Yeah.
they could
So-
win the war.
So the moment to start the war, to participate in the war was missed, and Nazi like captured the world, and the world is different now, right? Just too late. Is it plausible? I don't know. Officially, what do you think?
I think
These
so.
are-
Yeah. I mean, if we hadn't defeated Germany, I mean, he took over all of Europe. If we hadn't defeated him, if he had invented the nuclear bomb, he would have basically made all countries surrender immediately, right? You bomb Moscow, you bomb New York, everyone's going to surrender if you've got that kind of power, and they can't stop you, And he
Yeah.
had rockets. So he had rockets. So if he'd had a nuclear bomb, nuclear missiles with rockets at that point in time, he could have conquered the world. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay, so that's the riddle, right? So now Kirk has two options, right? So they so actually what is the change, like a critical moment of change in these two realities? One reality when Hitler won the war, and another when our normal story. The only critical point is that lady, this exact lady that like developed this peaceful movement. So what McCoy did that reality changed? What do you think? What he did?
Yes, I think he saved her from the accident. So
Yeah,
he
from
somehow
car accident.
interfered. Yeah, he interfered with that accident. So she missed that point.
Yeah, but at that point they did not know this, right? At that point they just started to figure it out that Edith is the key of the whole story, and she should die. Actually, she should die to save. They have to let her die to save the world. But Kirk fall in love. Layla, do you understand
Yeah. I'm following my dear friend.
Yeah. So what
I
would you
wonder what's gonna happen.
what would you recommend to the Kirk? To kill the lady or to what?
Oh no, don't ask me that question. You know my answer.
Love always can win, right? Or something.
Love is something you can find easily, you know.
Well, so actually, Kirk is in trouble, right? He can, as far as I understand, he cannot decide at that moment. And there was a funny episode when she went by the how we call it, ladder or chairs, right? So, how we call this inside the buildings. She went upstairs and almost fall from the stairs, but Kirk saved her. And and they did not know. Maybe that was a moment. Maybe that was a moment when she died because of failing. So it was kind of kind of a maybe they changed the reality already. Okay, let's remember about McCoy. McCoy actually on the Earth already, right? Gerard, do you remember this? McCoy arrived on the planet.
Yes, and Edith found him also, but for some moment, and he recovered from his drug, his overdose drug. He recovered, and eventually he found the mm, Spock and Kirk. And the accident actually was provoked by this moment. So when Edith saw McCoy, Kirk, and Kirk all together, she crossed the street and truck ran over her. So
Yeah.
actually,
Okay, let's just describe the circumstances more. So they went to the movie theater, right? To the movie theater, and she before mentioned this to McCoy, that we going with my boyfriend. I'm going to watch a movie with some guy. I don't remember the guy. Let's say with Johnson, right? And he said, "Who is Johnson?" Then she went with Kirk to this theater cinema and said and told Kirk, "We are going to watch this movie with Johnson." He said, "Who is Johnson?" "You're speaking like McCoy." And at that moment, he realized that McCoy is here, and she met him, and like the whole situation created, right? And McCoy was on another side of road, and something happened. So first, I don't remember. First, Kirk started to rush to McCoy, and then her. And there was a car, and McCoy tried to save her, but Kirk prevented that, right? So they actually let her die. So not they, it was a Kirk's decision, right? So McCoy tried to save her. All three were together. Yeah.
Kirk's decision?
Yes, it was Kirk's decision. Yes, he intentionally decided to grab McCoy and not let him to save the lady.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a kind of, it was not like he did not have a time to ponder about this. Like it was on the spur of the moment, right? So it was a very fast decision. I don't know.
No other alternatives?
Well, the alternative eventually you will have to kill the lady, right? Eventually.
Okay. Thank you, Eva.
But I think that it's a big plot hole because they provoked, the accident. So what's the point? So it looks like the time change because McCoy saved her, but the reason that she had the accident was them.
Yeah, I understand. So in reality, without them, she would not run through the road. Yeah, so it was a created situation, then they prevented. Yes, it's kind of a hole. I agree. Please.
Yes, the another plot hole is not only she can change the history, there could be someone else who can alter the historical events, and especially the guy who steals from McCoy, he could have done something else, and it would have make the USS Enterprise non-existent. Anything could have happened. Just they all depended on just one lady. It seems so. Say that.
There's a theory, of course we don't know if it's real or not. There's a theory that time flows like a river current, and it flows like it may flow around rocks, it may flow down waterfalls, but the flow always goes in the same direction and ends up at the same point. So that sounds reasonable in a way. So it may be that she was going to die in a car accident no matter what happened. So if Kirk and Spock hadn't have been there making her cross the street to get run over by a vehicle, if they had not been there, then some other flow of time would have created circumstances that got her killed by a vehicle in some other method. But the time current had a point in time where she was going to die in a vehicle accident at some point, and that fact could not be changed because the currents of time required that event to happen. Yeah, you know, it's all very theoretical, but
Yeah,
I
it's always
wish I could be this much logical.
it's always complicated when we say about time paradoxes, right? Because you know you cannot we don't have actually any science about this, right? We cannot make experiments, so it's always theoretical and always like very complex.
yeah.
And it's interesting about this currents in time. About you know sometimes I feel it like you know sometimes mm, it's controversial. Sometimes we have persons that change the time, and sometimes we have like not circumstances. They let's say you let's to be more clear. I will make an example. For instance, why Soviet Union dismounted? Because one person? No, there was not a person who was decided this, but it was like a the whole like movement of many people who decided it will be so. So it was question of time when will it happen. At the same time, there are like historical events that really created by one person. So it's kind of be boss, this and that. So one lady can change the story, the whole history of humankind. Well, I say I would say it's possible. We have seen examples, and I can believe in this. And at the same time, I can believe in like in opposite. You know that that for instance, if Hitler never existed, would we have Second World War? I would say yes, because Second World War was not provoked by Hitler. It was provoked by the bunch of circumstances, right? So it's all have different reasoning, I would say. So it's interesting movie to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, what we forgot? Yeah, Vasant just mentioned that another guy, a bum, stole the device, some kind of device from doctor, clicked something and disappeared. What it was? What happened to him? I don't understand. I expected it will have some influence on our history, but it was just a dangling branch of history. How we call it? A non-reasonable moment. Usually, how we call the like a moment of the story that has no like relationship to the story. Dangling leaf, I would say.
I guess we'd call it a non sequitur.
Yeah, non sequitur. Yeah. So the bomb died from something. What he
Oh,
changed?
yeah. Bum apparently didn't contribute to society in any way. Yeah, he had McCoy's phaser,
Yeah.
McCoy's weapon, which can disintegrate. So
And
he shot himself with it, and
yeah. And he
yeah.
disintegrated himself, right?
But luckily, he wasn't a significant player in history.
But I don't understand why we have this scene in the movie, because it's changed like nothing, right? So it's
I think just to show that when the future comes into the past, it's not going to be pretty.
Oh.
I don't know.
right. So when you go to medieval time and ask where can I find a charger for my mobile phone, it will
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what we forgot? What line we forgot? What important? Something important.
At the very end of the episode, when they came back to the planet, they didn't explain what had happened, but everyone could see that Kirk was very serious and somewhat depressed. And they asked him what happened, and all he could say was, "Let's get the hell out of here."
Wow, poor him.
Yeah. So he was very upset, and they didn't know why.
But Lee, you know, it's normal that he was upset. Just
Right.
imagine yourself.
But usually, he'd say, Enterprise, this is Kirk, beam us up, But he broke his normal routine by just very seriously saying, "Let's get the hell out of here." So it was an emotional moment where he broke from his normal personality, character.
Right.
Yeah.
what I like about this episode, it's my favorite, like sayings from somewhere, from Bible or somewhere. So the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's what I always say to modern liberals when they try to do something, you know, because every small action can provoke a big, enormous like reaction, right? And when you do something just because you think it will be better for this guy, just because you know you how we call it, virtuous signaling, right? We call it just to show how good I am. So I always afraid of this very much.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna take away your right to say the N word so we don't offend other people. We're gonna take away your right to say this. Well, you can't say this either. You can't say. We're gonna censor you completely so that people don't get misled by your lies. And pretty soon, no one can say anything. Yeah, it just they go down the wrong. It's a slippery slope, we call it.
Yeah, but we already at the end of this slippery slope. I hope so. I hope so. I I read on this week a big article. It's a very good one. I will share it in our chat. So a guy from top management of Google have to retire because he was saying like you know wrong words. He would not master the polite correctness of this corporate culture. But he was there for 20 years. He made this corporation, but he can.
Yeah,
It's going to I don't know to the hell by good intentions as always.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, interesting.
You know something that sometimes the Spock raises his eyebrow.
Yeah, that's he's not an emotional person, so the only emotion he shows is he raises one eyebrow. You insult him, it's like, really, Captain, there's no need to insult me.
Yeah,
It's a funny person.
it's interesting that teacher Lee wrote in our chat that it's Spock who prevented to save the lady, right? Kirk started moving to save her, but Spock shouted Jim no. So actually, it wasn't Jim's decision, you say, right?
Right, because, you know, just like falling down the steps, Spock said, Captain, when the moment comes, you can't follow your instinct. And he was starting to go save her, and Spock had to remind him, Jim, no. And then McCoy went, hold it, McCoy, you can't do that. Do you know what you've done? Yeah.
Let me share another favorite expression. Maybe you like it. Hell is full of good meanings, but heaven is full of good works.
I haven't heard that one.
Kind of the same. As I say, it's an alternative translation to this about road to hell.
Wow.
Okay, I like them both. Yeah, so it's what I feel. Okay, and it's what I feel about this lady. Actually, sometimes we just don't. So let's discuss this. Should we like provide a free food for bums? What do you think, Leo?
Why not?
Why not? Okay, I have an argument against this. You know, if you provide free food instead of, you know, this this story about free fish and a stick for fishing.
Ivan, what I have realized in this life at this age, if you give your hands to people, they want your arm. I'm aware of a lot of things, but I can't stop helping people. I can't stop helping animals, and animals don't ask anything. So I don't know what to do with people.
Lila, you're talking about a bit different idea. So I'm not against to helping people by if I want to. What if I want to help them today, just now, and like I have this intent, I may do this.
Look,
But
Ivan, if
I'm against when it become like a service, a mandatory service. You know, we
you're
decided.
right, you're right.
So we decided
Because
that we will provide free food. Then people stop working. That's what I want to do.
I agree with you because here we have got some campaigns and we start giving people free food. Suddenly we realize that although some people have a lot of money, they come and have free food.
Mhm.
So you're right.
I had a personal experience and interesting one for me. Let me share you. So in my neighborhood, there was a big truck. Every morning he came here and give free food to whatever, to whoever will ask for it. So and people who live in neighborhood started to attack this truck. Go away, go away. Why? You understand?
Yeah.
Because the whole neighborhood was full of bombs because of this, you know. So why this owner of truck did not like distribute the food in his own neighborhood? Because of this, I guess. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting moment.
We have if you ever go to a zoo, you'll see a sign that says "Don't feed the animals."
Yes.
If you go to the swampland in Florida, there'll be signs, "Don't feed the alligators." Because once you feed animals, they no longer fear humans. And once they don't fear humans, they'll come close to humans and attack and eat the humans.
Right.
But people still keep feeding the alligators.
Yeah, I saw these signs, and I remember one we were in the mountains, in Gilbertown Mountains, and there are many monkeys, and these monkeys know that people are always full of food. They have them in bags everywhere, and these monkeys, they actually attack you if they see any plastic pocket, plastic bag or something. So there are signs everywhere like, go there with free hands. Don't have you should not have anything in your hands, or you will be attacked. I guess.
Yeah, that was in the news a year or two ago. I don't know if it was a town in India, Vasant, or someplace, but a bunch of monkeys actually attacked the people in the town looking for food.
Because they are hungry.
Yeah, and
Well,
they had become tame enough or desperate enough that they were no longer afraid of people, and they came into a town and were attacking people trying to take food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I read about this event, and it was kind of like this: that there is a population of monkey who was fed by tourists for a long time,
Yeah.
and then COVID came, and no more tourists, no more food. But monkey will not hunt by themselves anymore, so they they have a habit to rely on people now. So they started to hunt people instead of
that's what it was. Yeah. And camping out, and Yvonne probably knows about this. When you camp out in the woods, in the forest, you don't leave your food out where bears can smell it, because bears will come into your camp.
Exactly.
It was interesting. Wow.
But Leila, it's still okay to give food to to cats in the in the city.
Oh, they are so cute.
Okay, okay. What else? So yeah. So I actually I don't know. I have a mixed feeling about these shelters for bombs or something. I think it's good in a way because we let people to survive in bad circumstances, but at the same time it's a bad in a way because we just provoke people to rely on us instead of solve their problem by themselves. So,
what I'm thinking is the one we mustn't let the people exploit us.
Yes,
it's
but
like,
how?
yeah. California is a good example. California says, let all the immigrants come into California. So people go to California that can't speak English, they have no skills. California's got the worst homeless problem in the world. People are poor, they're desolate, they use drugs, they steal for food. There's
Yeah.
hypodermic needles for illegal drugs all over the street, on the sidewalk, Layla, where kids walking along have to go around bums and homeless people, and there's needles all over the sidewalk. The kid can pick it up, stab themselves, and get disease. And
Wow.
this is a serious problem in California. At one point, California actually put a bunch of homeless people on a bus and sent the bus to New York, and they let all the homeless people off the bus in New York, and the bus came back to California.
Wow.
New York found out. They said, "What the hell are you doing?"
Lee, is it still the same situation?
In California, yes.
Oh,
Layla,
wow.
it's funny, Layla, but 2 states in the United States, California and New York, both intensely liberal states, are the only 2 states in the whole country that are calling for their governors to be kicked out of office. They want to recall their governors and remove them from office. I guess
Wow.
states can't impeach, I guess, but the 2 liberal states, their own people want their own governors to be removed from office because they're causing so much damage to the states.
Wow.
It's
I read,
ironic.
I read a
It
lot of stories.
is.
I read a lot of stories about people who fled from California to Texas or somewhere else just to just to change circumstances. Yeah. So, but it's good. It's good that we have California, that we can see that what happened under liberals government.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to our Padlet, I guess. I think we have some questions. Ask your own if you have any. Okay, so first one, how did McCoy gain his memory back? Vova, do you remember McCoy, doctor? He lost his memory, right? He was sick. Do you remember? Vova,
Yes.
how did he gain his memory back? What happened?
He's sleep.
Yeah, he slept, he had a rest, lady helped him with some medication maybe, right? So drug slowly removed itself, right? So nothing special. He just was under drugs and I don't know how we call it, rehabilitation, rehab.
Yeah.
Something.
The way the body works is anything bad in your body will get rid of in different ways.
Mhm.
You'll either throw it up, vomit, you'll get diarrhea, and it'll come out the other end, or you'll slowly, sweat will take some of it out of your body. You urinate and go to the bathroom, that takes some of it out of your body. And eventually it just kind of dilutes, spreads out, dilutes, disperses, gets weaker and weaker, and it leaves your body eventually.
It
So,
is really interesting,
yeah.
Mhm. And as far as I remember, my biology lessons, it's called, Leila, how? It's called intolerant or something. So
yeah.
our body is intolerant to circumstances, right? If we were tolerant, we will be like occupied by this, but we
But
are
it is
not
really
tolerant.
interesting, isn't it, Ivan? How our body works. Recently, I have had a lot of vitamin C and I started sweating. I never sweat in my life. I was surprised. I said, I think I'm getting old. And then I just had a checkup and they said, don't take vitamin C anymore, please.
It's because all that happens in our body is chemistry, right? So it works in this way and that way. If you change some part of equation, something else will change as well, right?
Yeah, Lee, the doctor said the same thing. Too much vitamin must be
Yeah.
toxic, right?
People don't think about it, but but vitamins have a minimum recommended amount and a maximum recommended amount. Too much of any vitamin can, as Yvonne said, throw off the chemical balance in your body, and
Right.
it can actually poison you.
Yeah.
There was
It was the same, right? Usually everything is a poison and everything is a medication, depending
Yeah.
on the dose.
there was a Dr. House TV episode where a guy came in and he had all kind of serious medical problems. And one of the things Dr. House, one of his characteristic behaviors is he always goes to the person's house, breaks into their house, and noses around and snoops around. So when they went to his refrigerator and opened up his refrigerator, he had like one kind of food. He had like 50 of one kind of food, and they they figured out that the guy wasn't getting enough vitamins because he was
Right.
only eating one kind of food and he had a vitamin E deficiency or something. And
Right.
once they gave him different food to eat, he got better. But
Right.
it's the same thing. You can't eat one food all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I told you this. I have a Taiwanese student. She's a vegan, Yvonne. And one day she told me, she said, Teacher Lee, I almost died yesterday. I said, what happened? I woke up and I couldn't move. My whole body was paralyzed.
Wow.
Luckily, I was able to get to my cell phone and call my mom. And she came and took me to the hospital. And you know what had happened? She ate at one vegan restaurant and she always ordered the same vegan meal.
Wow.
So I said, Serena, you can't just eat one food every day forever. You don't get enough vitamins and minerals, you know. But that was what she was doing. She was eating the same meal at the same restaurant every day with no variety. And she ended up with some kind of a vitamin mineral shortage and her body became paralyzed one morning. She couldn't even
Wow.
move. So,
There is a disease that called scurvy or something. Actually,
yeah,
you know,
scurvy, yeah.
scurvy. Yes, it's, and nowadays it's almost doesn't exist, but it was a serious one.
Bone disease.
It's a disease when you know, when, as teacher Lee described, when you eat not enough specter of minerals. You eat all
Okay. All right.
Yeah. In the old days, when people used to sail on the tall sailing ships and they would cross the ocean, you know, take a month or two to go across the ocean, they would start with, you know, a lot of fresh vegetables and, you know, dried meat. But after a while on the ocean, the vegetables all went away. They used up all the vegetables and they would go a month or two with no vegetables in their diet as they went across the ocean. And that caused this scurvy, which is, I think, a bone disease. I can't remember,
disease. Right.
but it was because their diet lacked vegetables for like a month or two at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a serious disease. It's not only bone. It's the problem is that for people it's very hard to recover after this. So your body start to like misbehave in a way. So chemical balance is broken and it's hard to get it back. So because you know nature is powerful, you cannot compete with nature as always. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the slide. Two slides, right? We have a nice one as always, I guess. Let me share the screen. Star Trek. Tudun.
Okay.
We have an art as always. Oh,
Vasant, yeah,
sorry.
great.
Let me share again. Something went wrong. Okay, this way. The city on the edge of forever. So, Wova, do you know what is this donut? What is this? What is on the picture, Wova? We don't hear you. Put your mic.
The letters of Star Trek.
Yeah, so it's the font of Star Trek. So the way how we draw the letters is a font. Okay.
Font.
Okay. And what is this this donut or this circle thing? What is it?
It's
A machine, right?
yes, a machine.
The guardian of forever. Of science, yeah. Never, forever, always. It's a kind of adjectives about the time, right? So we can expect that. Looks clumsy. Okay, let's start with this one. Whoa, please start with this one. Who is this?
This is Dr. McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
He do the
Injection maybe, right?
injection of candazin.
Mm-hmm. This drug. So okay, let me help you. So this thing in his hands, how we call it, syringe, usually, right? The thing,
syringe or a hypodermic needle. Yeah, either one.
okay, syringe or hypodermic needle. Okay, hypodermic. Dermic is a skin, right? Derma is a skin in Greece or something. But what
Yeah,
is
hypo means under.
under? So hypodermic, it means under the skin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Is it an emblem or insignia or Starfleet? This
Yep,
golden one.
that's the Starfleet insignia. Yep.
On his sleeve, I can see two straps. I guess it's his rank. I guess.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. He's very serious, I would say. And he strike me like a very, what's the word for this? Very calm guy during this medication process. He was very calm. Okay, not much here. I can see probably a navigator or some assistant to navigator, some bridge, yes, catwalk, right? And
But Layla, for you, on a ship, the control room is called the bridge.
Yeah,
On a plane, it's called the cockpit.
right.
In a nuclear plant, it's called the control room.
Wow, control room. Thanks, Teacher Lee. I didn't
the-
know that.
In the military, it's called the command center.
Control room, right? Bridge and the cockpit. Okay.
okay, another one. Vasans, would you please describe this one?
This is where they landed on a planet that has the time portal. They were searching for McCoy, so they had their searching devices on. And they were looking for the sign of Dr. McCoy. And we can see it looks like almost a medieval time Greek kind of sort of architecture. The leftovers of columns and like that's all I can see.
Yeah, we can see some green lights right on this device. Green and blue lights. Looks like almost like a modern lead system. How you read this? LED systems, teacher Lee?
LED, yeah, LED. We call them. We say LED. We don't say LED. I don't know why.
LED. So ancient columns and sand, I would say, on the floor. And I noticed that female uniform on Starfleet was kind of frivolous. I would say female uniform for this
Yeah,
Japanese.
very short skirt back in those days. Yeah, the women wore short skirts and high boots.
Yeah, kind of. I wouldn't say that
go girl look. Yeah.
Nowadays it would not possible, I guess.
Yeah, the later ones didn't do that, but in the early days it was a man's world.
Let's go to the next one. Leila, could you please find something here?
I think they've seen something interesting, a kind of bronze, or I'm not sure. They are looking at this interesting, strange object, and it is a kind of, yes, illuminated again, and it is sparkly, you know. You can't take your eyes off this object. So they are looking at it, and could be Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk. And the others are the crew, right? The lady is the navigator lady.
She's the communicator.
Communicator, okay. And again, the ground, if you see the ground, it is sparkly as well.
Yep.
I'm not sure, but this could belong to the past, so maybe this attracted their attention a lot. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was a kind of historical picture of some battle or something. But it's hard to say from this slide.
But there are some things in the middle of the stone or something. You see, there are some things, kind of plants or figures. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
So-
some scene from the past. Yeah.
Mhm.
Notice that the columns look like old ancient Roman temples, don't they?
Yes, yes, yes.
And yet this was an advanced civilization, but their buildings look like the ancient Romans. You know, I guess they had to use their imagination a little bit. So it looks like this used to be inside of a giant temple or something, or a big structure. And yet
Yeah.
look where that column is. There's a column right next to it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually, do you remember Galaxy Quest movie we watched
Yeah,
recently?
yeah.
There was a lady communicator as well as Uhura, and she said, "My job is repeat aloud what computer say."
Yeah, yeah. I got one job, and by God, I'm going to do it.
I still
Yeah.
remember this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Voa, what is on this picture?
Mm. The Spock and uh, Kirk wants to be Robin Hood.
To be yeah, to steal something and justify it by being Robin Hood. Yeah.
Mm.
What else?
They, mm, I see the old old
Truck. Yeah.
Car or truck, right?
Looks like a pickup
Old
truck.
cars.
Yeah.
old
Mhm.
cars and horse.
And horse, yes. Yeah, I cannot read exactly what is wrote there, but I can see candy. So it's magazines. So probably it's like a few shops under one roof. Am I right, actually?
Yeah,
And
usually we call it a news stand. Sometimes they sell magazines, newspapers, comic
Mhm.
books. Yeah.
I see. And it's wrote tobacco and candy and something else I can.
Yeah. So just a small convenience store, if you will.
Mhm. We can see two metal barrels, right? Barrels or something.
Yeah,
Barrel.
we call them 55-gallon drums.
Gallon drums. So
They hold.
are
Go
they
ahead.
for oil, for petrol, for something?
Generally, they're for oil. Yeah. But they could oil, gasoline. They're for liquid, usually for liquid stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yeah, here people use it for, just only rubbish stuff. They
Yeah.
Yeah.
get rid of rubbish.
I've seen in the movies like about New York that sometimes they make a fire inside such barrels. So,
Yeah. In the apocalypse movies.
yes. At that time, all the cars, include trucks, they were smaller than now, right? So this truck is pretty small.
Yeah.
Okay. Vasans, would you please describe this one?
This is where they stole clothes from the neighborhood, and they were caught by the policeman. Some passerby called the police. I think they were suspecting that these two men are in strange clothes and they are trying to steal somebody's clothes. So they informed him. Then he was inquired about their presence and everything. So captain is trying to explain their appearance and especially Spock's appearance, and they finally got arrested because he couldn't cope up with the lies. He couldn't do it very well. So that's it, and we can see a wooden stick behind the policeman.
Yeah, kind of unusual, right?
In
But
the old
it's
days, they didn't have guns. So the police had a stick. We call it a nightstick or a billy club. or a baton.
Wow.
That was their only weapon, was a stick.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So not too much here. So let me describe it quickly. So they are running away from the policeman. So it's a chase kind of, and there are. I actually don't understand what they're doing there. So it's a 21 streets mission, but why people stay there in the queue? I don't understand.
They're probably waiting for it to open to serve lunch.
Okay.
Soup kitchen. So,
Yeah.
so inside that's that little cafeteria room where they serve soup. So they're probably waiting for it to open so they can get a free handout.
Yeah, and on this picture we can understand that Spock and Kirk they look very different from usual like suits. That's why they attract attention, and they need to change their clothes to be like more more normal, if we can say so.
We say they need to blend in.
Blending. Oh, nice blending. Yeah, Leila, next one is for you.
This place is like a old place. I can see the can I say stove on the right or
I call it a furnace.
right? I can see a table, wooden one. I can see some chairs, broken chairs or something like that. And I can see an old type of lamp. And they're changing their clothes, I guess. You mentioned it. It was in the basement, right?
Uh-huh.
And what else? The coffee cup is, but it is broken, or I'm not sure. It's empty, something like that. I can see a piece of clothes on the table, maybe some old boxes, and a very dirty place.
Yep, spider webs.
Yeah.
There's
What
an
is
old.
Lee? What is the thing just next to the lamp? Could be a kind of smoke or what
That's
is that?
spider
Not
web. You're talking about
spider
the
web.
that's spider web. It's a no one ever goes down there, so it's not used. So spider webs are everywhere.
Wow, that's huge. I can't imagine the spider.
Oh yeah. Well, it takes time, but yeah, if you leave a place abandoned for a long time, there will be spider webs everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't have to be a long time, you know. So for instance, in my summer house we go there for weekends, so weekly, and we can see like massive spider web in 1 week. So
Wow.
they're good workers. They're good workers.
If you look on the right, you'll in the foreground you'll see a wooden crate. A box that's made of wood to store stuff in, we call a crate.
Crate.
If you look on the left, under the chair, you'll see a wooden barrel. We use that to store stuff into. That kind of round wooden barrel usually stores beer or whiskey or alcohol.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'd call it a whiskey barrel.
Actually, Leila, these barrels, whiskey barrels, they are like a part of the process to making whiskey. So
But it is wooden, right?
it's wooden and it's made of special wood, and it's not just to store. It's just to prepare whiskey, just to make it have some flour from this.
To age the alcohol and give it a flavor. Yeah.
To age. Like that. They age the wine as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, I remember this. It was a dialogue about a lady. How we call it?
Goody two shoes.
Yeah, it was her. I don't know, tribune. How we call this place to make a speech from.
Yeah, just platform, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So we can see a piano here for playing, I guess. A lot of chairs. And it's interesting that there is nothing on the table instead of this like salt salt holders, how we call them, salt shakers.
We call them shakers, salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah.
Looks like maybe a small sugar jar for coffee. And that's about it. Yes, there's no napkins, no silverware. Well, they had a spoon, I guess, for the soup. That's all. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What is this?
This is a Spock's computer.
Very good.
Oh, what a computer.
It's what Spock built from nothing, I guess, from some junk. I don't know.
Yep. We have a word called contraption.
Mm-hmm.
A contraption is some kind of machine that you build out of junk.
I see.
We just call it a contraption.
I see. What is?
The Spock built this knife and this knife and bears.
Yes, with
Yes.
simple tools like a knife and what else? Duct tape, maybe? No.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So built from stone knife and bears. Bear skins. You should have wrote, right?
Yeah. Caveman tools.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, but I can see, I don't know the name for all this, but yes, it's a kind of induction circle. I don't know the right term for this.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Good guess, Yvonne. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Okay.
works, right?
Yeah, so these two kind of antennas or something, and we can see a discharge of electricity between them. So they kind of, I don't know, Tesla spark, yes.
Yeah.
Are these the cables? The blue?
Yeah. So this is the right electricity, yeah.
That blue thing is actually an arc of electricity going between two rabbit ears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's going up. It's going.
Yeah. Nice one. Okay, it's the moment when they discussed that he needs some platinum and gold and something else. So he was not happy actually about being a caveman. Yeah.
He said, Mr. Spock, this is the 1930s in a depression. There will be no platinum. There will be no gold. There will be no silver. You've got to make do with what you have. Yeah.
What is happening on this picture?
The old men in that mission, they're working on something and they have tools. They are finey. It's a fine tool. With I don't know, like silver or something. So Spock had an eye on those tools because he thought that they might help with that device building. You can see a chair on the table. A lot of tools. And a locker behind them. A suitcase or how to say that? Is that a trunk or something?
We call it a trunk when it's big and rectangular like that. Yeah.
That's all I can see.
Yeah, and they stole this, right? They stole these devices to make their computers. Combination lock here.
Yeah, that kind of a lock where you have to turn it to 3 numbers. We call that a combination lock. You need to know 3 numbers to open it.
Yeah. Or a big hammer, right?
Yeah.
When I was young, this business like clock repair was everywhere on every street. So on every street you can find a man who can repair your clocks. But now I can't remember any. So for decades already.
Very difficult to find. Yeah.
So
I
probably
still doubt that those old clocks.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
what
some people have them, but okay. So McCoy arrived and was robbed, right?
Robbed. Uh-huh.
And went to this shelter of lady, and she took care of him. Leila, would you please describe this one? I can see some details.
if I'm not wrong, because I have listened to you carefully, this lady is trying to treat him, right? And he is lying on the bed. She's trying to help him. He's unconscious, I believe, and she looks very elegant, although I can't see her face. The
Mhm.
way she gets dressed, I love it. And I love these chairs to tie with the truth. It attracted my attention before, and the green one. And I can see some what are these on the window?
Yeah.
Tricks,
Brick-
bricks. There are some
Bricks
bricks. Right.
outside the window, a brick wall. Yep.
Why outside the window?
Because the
I think.
distance, yeah, distance
Yeah,
is
it's
very small.
very close. Yeah. It's
Okay,
only a narrow alley between two buildings. Yeah.
okay.
It looks like it might be a typewriter on the table. I can't tell, but an old style typewriter maybe.
I
Maybe.
think it is. Yeah, it is. So Leila, you asked about this lady, about her face. She is on
Right.
this.
Right.
This is this is a lady, the Edith.
She looks elegant.
Okay. And the last moment. Vova, do you remember this?
Yes.
What happened?
Mm. The McCoy want to save Edith
Mhm.
Keeler, but Kirk stopped him.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks, Voa.
So there is a car on the right, and car is Russian to lady to the lady to Edith, and there is a Spock who said Jim no, and Jim who holding.
But he looks so serious, Mr. Spock, no emotions. And he looks funny in this kind of outfit.
Yeah. Spock is just taking care that she died.
Yeah.
She want to witness this. He wants to witness that she's died. Right?
Well, I mean, he's making no effort to stop it because he knows it has to happen as
Mhm.
it's supposed to. So he's just a disinterested observer.
Yeah. There are two men on this bench. Can you see them?
Mm-hmm.
They have no intention to save her, but it was like kind of a intense moment where all things were very fast, so it's not such easy to save her. Yeah, she's wearing a cape, right? It's a strange thing, and I don't know how to describe this blue thing, bonnet.
A
I
cloak
guess
could be a cloak.
cloak is okay. Cape or cloak. Yep.
Okay, cape or cloak. That's all. That's a moment of the truth, right? So they decided to let her die and save their civilization, right? Their civilization, their history, their reality.
Those
I'm
curtains.
thinking about it.
Those curtains on the window behind, that usually is something like a restaurant. They'll have those, I call them half height curtains. You can close them for privacy while you eat, but the
Mhm.
top part is open so light can come in and light the room.
Uh-huh.
So the
Yeah.
old days we had those.
Yeah, I actually don't remember. I have seen them in my place ever, So something new.
It's old fashioned. Yeah.
Nowadays we have electricity, right, for lights things up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the moral? What is the moral of this? Vasant, what do you think? What should we do if someone who we love is going to change our reality?
Yes, it is acceptable, to losing one life instead of the entire human race or something. So it's acceptable. He did the right thing.
Yeah, it's a tricky question. Always we discuss so many times this dilemma of less bad, of less worse. I don't know how to describe it. So it's always, when we speak about self-driven cars, right? What to decide, to kill one guy or to kill the owner or something else.
Yeah. These old TV shows, something you got to realize about the old TV shows. We're talking back in the 1980s, 1960s. You got 60 minutes, and then you've got commercials and advertisements. So maybe you got about 45 minutes to tell a story. So I thought for telling a pretty good story in 45 minutes, this episode did a pretty good job.
Yes.
To me, the writer was very good to imagine this kind of a 45-minute story.
Yeah. I don't know why. I expected something different. I expected some kind of hardship for the team, that they will, like, in the loop of time paradox.
It is entertaining, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's more philosophical. Yeah.
Something I want to mention. When Star Trek came out back in my childhood, it was going to be canceled after one season. It was going to be canceled because it was too intellectual. It wasn't it wasn't cowboy fist fights and gunfights and explosions. It was more intellectual, and a lot of people didn't like it. And it was going to be canceled after one season.
Wow.
But so many people did like it. The Star Trek fans, a diehard group of people, they all started a campaign to write letters to Hollywood and say, we want this show for another year. Don't cancel it. And it actually lasted 2 more seasons. So it was just luck that it lasted 3 seasons. Now, and then it died. So in 1969, this show was over, never to be shown again.
Wow.
But what happened was, back in those days, there weren't many TV programs or movies. So the TV companies had what we call syndication. They would buy an old TV series that had finished, and they would show it on a channel over and over again, as reused entertainment, if you will. So Star Trek, these 3 seasons of Star Trek went to TV, to syndicated channels that showed reruns of old series. And as people were born and grew up and they watched these repeat series of Star Trek in syndication, they thought, man, this was a good series. So even though it only lasted 3 years, the repeated showing of it on the syndication channels kept it popular and kept introducing it to new people. So Star Trek today, 60 years later, Star Trek is the most popular series in America. Everyone in America knows the original Star Trek.
Lee, I just want to say, sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
My elder brother, he said he watched it in black and white.
I don't think it was ever in black and white. It came
I
out
don't know. Maybe
in color.
Maybe they didn't have color TV.
Yeah, they might have had a black and white TV. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Today I talked to my son and he loves this series.
But the series ended, let's say, in 1969. It wasn't until like 2000 and something, like almost You know, it was 30 years later when the first movie was made. And when they announced a Star Trek movie, the whole country was like, wow, wow, it's coming. You know, we were so excited. It was wonderful. I still remember that experience.
It is going to be a classic. I mean, just think
Yeah,
of the generation gap between my son and my elder brother. They both
yeah.
know.
Yeah, but it was the only optimistic science fiction series in our
Yes.
history, and that's why people loved it. The future was happy, it was peaceful, people were not suffering, it wasn't an apocalypse, it wasn't a dictatorship, it wasn't a dystopia, you know, it was optimistic about the future, and that's why it was so
Yeah.
beloved by most people. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
If you remember, teacher, I tried to tease you about this later on previously on the week, because there was a collection of aliens seen by American movies and by Russian.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
I love your conversation. You know, you two are great.
But there were a lot of different Star Trek episodes that were very visionary. They covered social issues that are still valid today.
Right.
Teacher Lee, I think that today we have had a very good class about this episode, and I think we should repeat on another episode or something, so we will from time to time we can get one episode and have a class again. I guess it's a good idea. So please,
Yeah.
just choose another one which you like,
Okay.
and we will do this again. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
watch the right one this time.
Okay.
so thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for good
Thank
discussion.
you, Lee. Thank you, everybody. Wawa, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.